This is Dragonfruit by Makiia Lucier, Chapter 19. Oleana, Queen Magalahi said, "My love, there's someone here to see you." Hanali looked down at Princess Oleana in her bed, unable to hide her shock. "Nothing is different," Sam had told her when she had asked after his mother. He had meant it, for time and illness had not touched her. The hair Hanali had once brushed remained black as lava stones. Spiraling curls reached her knees. Her face was free of line and shadow. The fishhook scar on her cheek was as vivid as ever, and there was the smallest of smiles on her lips. A stranger would have not have believed her to be a woman in her 45th year of life. Across the wide expanse of bedding, Queen Magalahi wore a deep blue dress. Hammered gold bangles covered her arms from wrist to elbow. "You look surprised, Hanaliarihi." An understatement. "I am, Your Grace. I don't understand." They were not alone in the chamber. Directly overhead, Fetu hung upside down from a beam. Sam and Lord Isco were at a table, sorting through the contents of Hanali's satchel. The Lord Protector's bandaged leg had been propped up on a chair, and a polished cane lay within reach. Through the open windows came the busy, persistent chatter of sand crickets. "No one understands," Queen Magalahi replied. "Why would she not wake up or eat or drink or even grow older?" Hanali gasped. "She doesn't eat?" "She won't keep anything down," Sam said. "It hasn't harmed her or helped her. We've brought in healers from all over the Nomi Nomi, doctors from Langland and Esperanza. No one has seen an illness like hers." Hanali could not decide which felt worse, grief or guilt. It should have been her in this bed. "I am so—" "Don't say you're sorry," Lord Isco said without looking up. "It's a waste of everyone's time." Sam eyed the Lord Protector. The Queen frowned, but no one spoke, not even Hanali. She had saved his life today, and he had not said a word about it. As much as she wished to, she could not tell this surly, ungrateful elder what she thought of him, especially in front of the Queen. Instead, she asked, "May I hold her hand?" "You may," Queen Magalahi said. Hanali perched on the edge of the bed, careful not to jostle, and took Princess Oleana's hand in hers. It was warm, with familiar calluses along two fingertips. The scars on Hanali's own hands were a stark reminder of all that had come to pass since she had last been in her company. "Lady, it's Hanali." She kissed Princess Oleana's knuckles, then pressed her forehead to them, fighting back tears. She did not want her first words to be accompanied by weeping. "It's Hana. I know you can hear me." The Queen's gaze sharpened. "You sound sure, Hanali Arihi." "I am sure." "How?" Sam asked. "I heard you," Hanali told him. "You came every day. You brought your carvings to work on to pass the hours, or you brought your ukulele. You slept on the floor sometimes." Lord Isco snorted, a deliberate, rude sound meant to rile. Hanali had had enough. "I understand, Lord Isco. You couldn't be any clearer. You don't want me here." "I don't recall saying those words." Lord Isco sat back. He looked like a man who wanted an argument. Suddenly, Hanali did too. "You don't have to." Gently, Hanali placed Princess Oleana's hand on the bed. She did not want to accidentally bruise it in her anger. "You think I'm here for some terrible secret purpose." One eyebrow went up. "And are you?" "I'm not." Hanali kept her voice even, her tone respectful. "You're Lord Protector. You're supposed to think the worst of everyone. But I've never lied to you, sir. You've never allowed it. If there's something you wish to accuse me of, here I am." "Very well," Lord Isco said, and it was like there was no one else in the chamber. "You have been gone from Tamarin 10 years, more years than you lived here, I might add, and in the company of a man of dubious reputation. Then one day you fall from his ship into Tamarindi waters and are conveniently saved by a handsome, gullible prince." From Sam. "I resent that, very much." Lord Isco ignored him. "Would you blame any Lord Protector for wondering where your loyalties lie? After all, look at where you are now, and with whom." Surrounded by a prince, a princess, and the Queen of Tamarin, who watched and listened and said no word. "I don't blame you," Adelie said, because she understood. Lord Isco would have been right to worry if she had been the sort of person who wished this family harm. "I have only my word, and I cannot make you accept it. I was on the anemone unwillingly. Captain Bragdon and I do not keep company with one another. Far from it. I have sailed past Tamarin 6 times over the last few years on other ships, and I have never disembarked, not once." She turned away from the incredulity on Sam's face. "I would not have come this time, except Saw something I shouldn't have, and then I saw Fetu. For as long as she could remember, Fetu had always meant safety, and Fetu had always meant home. In the silence that followed, there was a solitary chirp, and Fetu dropped straight down from the beam. Honolly caught him and held on tight, though she did not look away from Lord Isco. Sam went to stand by an open window, his back to them all, looking out into the darkness. It was the queen who spoke. What do you mean, Hanali? Arihi? What did you see? It was a relief to finally tell someone. Your Grace, have you heard of the ship called RES Lagoon? Should I have? It's a dragoner, my, Sam said without turning, captained by Augustus, the Esperanzan king's youngest son. Lord Isco said, What about the lagoon? Captain Bragadin was searching for the dragonfruit, Connolly said. Prince Augustus was following. Two dragons surfaced near us, very hungry, and to keep them from seeking his ship, Captain Bragadin ordered incendiaries fired on the lagoon. The ship went down with everyone on it, and it drew the sea dragons away from us. There was an appalled silence. Sam turned around. Drew the sea dragons away? Do you mean? Yes, there were no survivors. Queen Magalahi pressed a hand to her throat. That captain is an Esperanzan. He killed his own prince, fed him to the fish. Not only him, Your Grace, Connolly said. There was a woman on board. I didn't recognize her, but Captain Bragadin called her Augusta. He said she was the prince's grandmother. Queen Magalahi and Lord Isco exchanged astonished looks. I have met her, the queen said, long ago. Yes, Hanaliarihi, I can see why you felt the need to leave that ship. I saw you struggling with someone, Sam remembered. Was it Captain Bragadin? When Hanley nodded, his expression tightened. How did you get away? Hanley looked at her satchel. It's at the bottom, at the very bottom. Watch your fingers. With his leg propped up, the satchel was beyond Lord Isco's reach. Sam crossed the chamber and reached into her bag, removing a solitary scale the size of a hand. It had come from the gold sea dragon, struck down by a harpoon on Little Kalama. Dried blood crusted one edge. Hanley had forgotten it was there and had neglected to rinse it clean. You cut him, Sam realized. It was horrible. Hanley kept Fetu close, pressing her nose against fur. She remembered the slash from cheekbone to lip and Moa telling her to go. She had jumped, frightened, and Sam was there. But necessary, the queen murmured. Well done, child. There was no such admiration from Lord Isco, who wanted to know, where did the ship go down? Exactly where? Exactly when? 9 days ago, Hanley said, between Kalama and Messina, along the main waterway. Someone would have seen the wreckage or what was left of it. Do we tell their ambassador? Sam asked. Lord Martin should know. Tomorrow, Queen Magalahi decided. After you've gone, I'll tell him. If he wishes to speak to Hanley, he'll only delay your journey. Sam returned to his chair. Bracken wants these eggs as badly as we do. Following them into Tamarindi waters would mean nothing to him. Not after what he's already done. Hanley was in agreement. Captain Bragadin would not care about boundary rocks or maritime laws. What was trespassing after murder? The Queen addressed Sam. You're thinking about the villages. They should be warned, Sam said, and we need more guards patrolling the western beaches. Agreed, Lord Isco said. I'll write the message. Samati, you send them out. Fine. Plans were discussed. Queen Magalahi was called away. She took her leave after granting Hanley permission to stay by Princess Oleana's side. Lord Isco did not protest, but he did not leave either. He and Sam remained at their table, poring over her papers. She could tell when they came to the part about her feeding on the dragon. Their expressions reminded her of Moa reading the same papers on the anemone. Is this a true story? Moa had asked, and this is disgusting. They moved on, and she heard words like darts, nets, and maps. She left them to it. It was a relief to not have to do everything herself. The burden was a shared one this time, not hers alone, and a weight she had not known she carried lifted off her shoulders and off her heart, making it easier to breathe. She braided Princess Oleana's hair, sitting cross-legged on the bed. She brushed and braided, chatting the entire time. In her heart, she knew the princess could hear her. She spoke about cheerful things mostly, her travels and the people she had met along the way and sea dragons. Fetu curled up on the princess's pillow, a wing just touching her hair, snoring. Every once in a while, Hanali would look over to find Sam and Lord Isco listening too. Sam came over. He sat in the chair the queen had left, peeling a banana left on a tray. A moment later, Fetu was awake and perched on his knee, waiting. Lord Isco remained at the table, writing feverishly. Hanali kept her voice down. She did not want Lord Isco to hear. Are you angry with me? She had seen his face when she had spoken of sailing past Tamarind, sailing on and never stopping. Sam's eyes met hers across the great expanse of bed. I'm sad, not angry. I wish you'd come home sooner. He broke off a piece of banana and offered it to Fetu. I know why you didn't. Hanali tied a length of ribbon around a braid, taking her time. It wasn't until the fruit was nearly gone that Sam spoke again. You're worried about tomorrow, aren't you? A little, especially after what happened to your father and Lady Rona, to Panina's cousin. How did you know about them? Hanali asked, startled. Are you truly asking? Lord Isco said from the table, where he should not have been able to hear them. With a quick smile, Sam pointed to his own ear. Like a bat, he mouthed. Out loud, he said, I wouldn't go near those eggs if there was another choice, but buying up sea dragons, hoping for dragon fruit, what has it got us? I don't know how much longer she can be like this. These eggs are a chance for her. What, would she want you to take such a chance? No. Sam Sam gave Fetu the last of the banana and left the peel on the tray. Samati. Lord Isco held out a tiny rolled up scroll the length of a fingernail. Sam set Fetu beside his mother, then went to retrieve the scroll. When he returned, he tucked it into the pearl cuff on Fetu's legs. Give them the message, Sam instructed his marking, and make sure they feed you. Then find us on the road. I'll be watching for you, my dear. Fetu chirped. He hopped from Sam's shoulder to Hanali's to Princess Oleana's before flying out the window and into the night. Once the sound of bat wings had faded, Sam told her, My mother used to say that the cure for worry was action. She was right, Hana. Hope's not working. He leaned down and kissed his mother on the cheek beside her scar. I'm her son, but I'm not a child to protect any longer. I'll do what needs to be done. Sam spoke with the guards in the courtyard while Lord Isco came to the bed and placed a hand briefly over Princess Oleana's. He offered the satchel to Hanali, who sat in a bedside chair. You're welcome to keep it longer if you need to. Oh, you're welcome to keep it longer if you need to. Lord Isco lowered the satchel. There are pages I wish to have copied, he acknowledged. As you like. Lord Isco gripped his cane with the other hand and frowned at her. I haven't thanked you for today. It isn't necessary, especially if you don't mean it. The last part would not have met with the Queen's approval, but she was not around to hear. Lord Isco just stood there waiting, as though it was her turn to speak, which it was not. Even so, the silence was too much for her. Hanali returned his frown with one of her own. Princess Ollie used to say that we do not keep a tally with the people we care about, our family, our friends. We help them because we love them, and we expect nothing in return. I don't require thanks, Uncle. I'm very happy you're safe. Lord Isco's breath hitched, and the sudden brightness in his eyes stunned them both. He glared at her, then swung away and made for the door. It slammed. Seconds later, the door opened, and Sam stuck his head in. Why is Uncle drying his eyes with my handkerchief? Hanley wrapped both arms around herself. She said nothing. Never mind, Sam said after a minute. I think he might have deserved it. Sleep well, Hanley. Sleep well, Sam. Much later, Hanley changed into the nightdress Penina had left for her. She fetched a pillow and blanket from a chest and placed it at the foot of the bed, where a page always slept. She blew out the candles. Sleep came easily and with sleep dreams. Curious. I don't remember saying anything about loved ones and keeping tally. Are you certain it was me? I made it up. He sent Benita to the prison kitchens. I wanted him to feel bad. The laugh that followed was one she had not heard in a very long time. A hand brushed her cheek. Hanali took the warmth of it with her into the dawn, when Penina came for her, and by the time she woke fully, the dream had been forgotten. Chapter 20. The hour was early and the air already bloody hot. Sam passed through the quiet courtyards of the royal pavilion, dressed in the dark green of the Queen's Guard. The only difference was the hammered gold band worn high on his right arm. He entered a stable teeming with activity. Guards saddled their condillos. The cook readied his cart. Guava and breadfruit in banana leaf baskets, pots and pans stacked one atop the other, the smell of nutmeg and condillos everywhere. By the water troughs, Katamara rolled up an enormous pile of dragon bedding. He was helped by two apprentices, a boy and a girl, both about 12 years old. To Sam's surprise, his grandmother was there. She wore tamarindi green and a crown of jade and pearl. He kissed both her cheeks. You didn't have to wake up so early. Sleep today of all days? His grandmother held out her palm. On it was what looked to be a tiny bird cage, 2 inches tall, only it did not carry a bird but a spider. Viti. I wish to give you this. Sam did not reach for the cage. He had Fatu. He did not want to be responsible for another. I can't take your marking. It's not for forever, just for this journey. She won't be a marking for you, Samati, she added, understanding part of his dismay. Simply another pair of eyes, should you need it. Sam took the cage reluctantly, holding it between thumb and forefinger. 8 pairs of eyes blinked back at him. Have you ever been apart from each other? Once, long ago. Sam waited, but she said nothing more. He tucked the cage into the pouch at his belt. Whatever he meant to say next was forgotten when 2 figures entered the stable, arm in arm, laughing. No, Sam said in consternation. What are they doing here? He spoke of William, the ambassador of Raka's brother, with his spectacles and dark velvet clothing, and Rosamie, the king of Salamasina's niece. She wore impractical white from neck to toe. Cockleshells edged her dress along the sleeves and hem. They rattled with every move. Sam could hear them from across the table. A straw hat sat on her head, the brim 2 feet wide at least. There was no sign of her uncle, Nakoro. They asked to join you, his grandmother informed him. A grand adventure, they said. It is not every day one goes off on a dragon hunt. Sam's sideways glance was full of skepticism. You're telling me Rosalie wishes to hunt sea dragons? His grandmother smiled. Those were her words. Your presence may have had something to do with it. Isco did not see the harm in their company. Why do you scowl so? He said the suggestion came from you. Something about building alliances. I don't know what he's talking about. His uncle was very conveniently not here to ask. My, I don't have time to look after guests. They are not children. Let them see to themselves. His grandmother watched their approach, seeing the velvet, hearing the cockles. Well, she murmured, they might need looking after just a little. Do your best, grandson. The pair came up to them, and greetings were exchanged. You look lovely, Rosamie dear, his grandmother said, but you may end up regretting that white. I do not think Samati is bringing along a washwoman. Oh! Nonplussed, Rosamie looked down at the delicate embroidery and the spotless, billowing skirt. Not even one? None, lady, Sam confirmed, willing her to change her mind. A cloud passed over Rosamie's features before she brightened. I brought plenty of others. I'm come prepared. And anyway, my white can't be worse than William's velvet. Look at him. All eyes inspected William, who said ruefully, I didn't pack my own trunks. A mistake I'll never make again. The feather in his cap had collapsed in the heat. It stuck to his ear and neck. Sweat dotted his temples and the bridge of his nose. He pushed up his spectacles only to have them immediately slide down again. Thank you for allowing me to join you, Prince Samati. I didn't sleep a wink last night. I couldn't contain my excitement. And if I can be of any use to you, I would be pleased to help. And if for any reason I become a bother, any bother at all, you may toss me to the side of the road and I'll make my way back. There will be no bitter feelings, I assure you. William's words had the sound of a speech practiced over and over. He was nervous. Sam's irritation melted away. For him, this was no great adventure, but he had no wish to be someone else's joy killer, and he appreciated the sincere interest William had shown for his island. It was not always so with visitors. I hope you'll be able to cross a few things from your list, Lord William. Can you ride a Condio? William eyed one being saddled nearby. The Condio was young, not long from its mother's side, pale green from mane to hoof. I can manage a horse. They look similar. They are, Sam said, distracted by the appearance of another. Hanali walked into the stables alone. She wore a riding tunic and slim trousers, but the color of the deep, a blue so dark it was black. Both the color of the deep, a blue so dark it was nearly black. A banana leaf hat with a short brim would keep the sun from her eyes. Soft leather shoes encased her feet and ankles, protection from snakes, scorpions, anything that slithered and stung. A saddlebag hung from one shoulder. Everything was practical, not a cockleshell in sight. There you are, Hanali Arihi, his grandmother beckoned. Come meet your traveling companions. Introductions were made and more greetings exchanged. William was quick to offer gratitude on behalf of his sister, recovering from yesterday's encounter with the sea dragon. How old is your sister? Haughtily asked him. 16, lady. and fond of the sea until yesterday. I'm not certain how we're going to get her home. Home is Raqqa? William nodded. The ambassador's residence there. We share it with my brother. I've walked past many times, Honolly said. William's eyes dropped to her hands. He would have seen her scars back at the lagoon. He knew where they had come from. You're braver than I am, Lady Honolly, he said with a smile, holding out his own hands to show her. I only have these grapes, and I wept all night. Honolly's smiles lasted only a moment, until she turned to Rosamie, who was not smiling, and who shifted so that her arm brushed against Sam's. Thank you, Rosamie said simply. Honolly glanced from Sam to Rosamie. You are very welcome, lady. Sam did not move away from Rosamie, for he did not wish to cause her embarrassment. He wondered if that was what diplomacy was mostly, keeping his mouth shut and not doing many of the things he wished to do in certain company. Bayani, he said as the guard walked past. Find our guests some mounts. Nothing with a temper. Rosamie and William went off to choose their condayos. Honolly would have gone too, except Sam's grandmother asked her to stay. She handed Honolly a dagger, its handle made of carved wood inlaid with black pearl. We can't have you running about using dragon scale as a weapon, his mother told her. It's a bit too ancient epic for my liking. Sam smiled as Honolly took the dagger, holding it as though it were made of spud glass. It's lovely, Your Grace, Honolly said. Thank you, but what if I lose it? It is a gift and yours to lose, his grandmother said. I've read your papers. I've seen your father's words. That you are still with us is extraordinary. I wish I'd never left. I as well. His grandmother placed a hand on Honolly's cheek. We are defined by our hardships, Hanali Arihi, and how we may face them. We are made stronger or weaker by those who hold closest to us. She dropped her hand. Look after each other. Come home safely. Yes, my Mai. We will, Your Grace. And Samati? When Sam straightened from his bow, he saw that his grandmother's attention had turned to a far corner of the stable. She was frowning. Watch over your cousin as well. Why does that boy always look like he's up to something? Jajamar was saddling a condayo, partially hidden by the animal's girth. His shoulders were hunched slightly, his head low, which was likely why the queen thought him so shifty looking. He wore plain riding clothes. A bulging satchel lay at his feet. Sam knew what the answer to his question would be. He asked What are you doing here? Instead of replying, Jajamar looked over at Honolly, who knelt beside Katamara, inspecting darts. Hello, Honolly. Hello, Jajamar. Honolly glanced over with a half smile. Your beard is gone. Sam wondered when she had seen Jajamar's beard, then realized they must have crossed paths that first night before Aunt Chessa chased her away. At Honolly's words, Jajamar's hands flew to his chin, no longer covered by wisps and straggles. His eyes widened. He patted his cheeks, his ears, as though searching for something. Did you forget you shaved your beard? Jajamar dropped his hands. Yeah, I forgot. Sam's exchanged glances with Honolly and Katamara. The latter mimed sneaking a sip from a flask before continuing his conversation with Honolly. Sam repeated, What are you doing here? I'm coming with you. Who wasn't? Did everyone think this was some kind of excursion? Sam already had William and Rosamie to watch over. He did not need another. Not this time, cousin. I won't cause trouble, I swear, Jajamar said. Please, Sam. Auntie Ollie was always nice to me. I want to help. I'll do anything you want. His mother has had a say for far too long. That boy is coddled, and if he is not taken in hand, he will rot from the inside out. Sam eyed his cousin, along with a wispy beard. Jajamar's spots were gone. Strange. He could have sworn they were there yesterday, picked over and scabbed. Did Lord Isco send you? No. Jajamar looked genuinely baffled. Why would he? Lord Isco hates me. He doesn't hate you. It's just how he looks. Across the stable, William leaned against his condayo and yanked off his cap, fanning himself with it. His face was flushed, fair hair sticking to his head. Sam felt a terrible foreboding. This would end badly. William was going to faint before they even reached the city gates. He would fall from his condayo and break his neck, and they would have to bring his body back to the ambassador brother. It would be tragic, for Sam found he liked Lord William. Also, his death would delay their search. Sam turned to his cousin. Anything I want? Jajamar, whose shoulders had begun to droop, straightened. Anything? What? Sam said, That man over there. His name is William. He's the ambassador of Raqa's brother, new to the islands. Jajamar whistled. You don't have to tell me that. Is he wearing velvet? You see the problem. He needs looking after, and I don't have time. Leave it to me. JJ picked his bag up off the ground and hugged it from the saddle. I'll take him to Panina. She'll find him something to wear. We wait? Not for long. JJ grinned. Thank you, Sam. His cousin practically skipped across the stable. Sam watched him tap William on the shoulder. They spoke, and JJ pointed to Sam, then at the velvet. William grinned good naturedly, and the two quick stepped quick stepped it out the stable door. One disaster averted. What else? First, he inspected the pouch at his belt, making sure VT had not fallen out. Next, he went about the stables, checking everything that needed to be checked. He went over the day's route with Liko, who had marked it down on the maps. He poked his head inside the cook's cart and left with a mouthful of nutmeg bread. He checked the straps on Rosami's Candayo, then admired William's new travel clothes, as plain and serviceable as Jajamar's, but with a straw hat. When he came full circle by the dragon nets, it was to see Hanali standing with her back against her Candayo, watching him. What's in the pouch? She asked. Why? You keep looking inside. Is it gold? How much do you have in there? It's not gold. Then what? Sam reached into the pouch and pulled out the cage. Hanali came closer. The queen gave you VT? Not forever. Another pair of eyes should I need it. Hanali was looking at him, seeing far too much. Two markings now. Are they heavy? She did not speak of ounces or pounds. A spider and a bat. They weighed nothing. Fetu would be off delivering his messages for another day or more, and Sam felt his absence keenly. But sometimes Fetu was more burdened than that, a constant reminder of his mother's illness, and of his own failure to find a way to save her. Sam hated even thinking about it. It felt mean and selfish, disloyal. He loved that bat. But now there was VT, and with his grandmother's marking came the weight of a queen's expectations. Find the dragon fruit, save his mother, preserve the family line. The responsibility was his and his alone. Are they heavy? Honolly had asked. A little, Sam admitted. Honolly held out her hand. You don't have to do everything alone. I'll carry her for you. Sam felt something in his heart shift, something different from before. When they were children, he did not give her the spider. He bowed over her hand and kissed it. If the stables fell silent, every eye turned in their direction, he did not notice. When he straightened, Holly was looking at him wide eyed. She tugged her hand away, self conscious. What are you? She began, then tipped her head, listening. So did Sam. They had heard it at the same time. Deeply touched, he realized. It's a wish you well. Honolly smiled at his expression. They were starting to gather when I came in. It sounds like 10 times the number I saw. Outside, someone was singing. A woman's voice lifted high. She sang a wish you well, a song from the old times, heard when the proas and Kamakos sailed away en masse for battle or to explore, to search for a better life. Her voice was joined by others until it sounded as if the entire city of Tamarind had come to send them off. Liko hurried up to them, her expression harried. Lord Eastco's outside. He says it's time for us to go. We're going, Sam said. Liko, where did all these people come from? Lord Eastco's doing, Liko answered. He sent messengers to Tamarind last night and this morning. He made sure everyone knew when we were leaving and why, in case they wanted to wish us well. Hanali waited until Liko had gone before murmuring, Beneath that grump, he's as soft as Fetu. Don't say that to his face. Never. They smiled at each other, and once again Hanali held out her hand. We are defined by our hardships and how we face them. We are made stronger or weaker by those we hold closest to us. Very carefully, Sam returned VT to his pouch and said, No, it's fine. I can carry her.